In the shadows of a world hidden from view, where the line between human and supernatural blurs, emerges a tale of two unlikely heroes. Welcome to the extraordinary saga of Lucas and Elara, werewolves bound not just by their shared nature, but by a relentless quest for justice. Every episode unravels a new chapter in their ongoing battle against the corrupt and the cruel. From the depths of the occult to the heights of corporate towers, they move in silence, striking where least expected. Their mission: to save the innocent and expose the malevolent. Armed with their wits, supernatural abilities, and a bond unbroken by adversity, they face adversaries both human and beyond. In a world where the prey can turn predator and the hunter becomes the hunted, Lucas and Elara navigate the grey areas of morality, justice, and loyalty. Join us as we delve into the heart of darkness, where danger lurks in every corner and courage is the only light. This is not just a journey through the night, it's a quest to bring balance to a world veiled in secrecy and rife with hidden threats. Get ready to enter a realm where myths come alive and heroes are born under the light of the moon. This is the world of Lucas and Elara. This is Lunar Shadows, the chronicles of Lucas and Elara. Chapter 1. Unveiling the Shadows. Lucas and Elara sat in their temporary base, a nondescript apartment nestled in the heart of the city. The room was filled with an assortment of maps, photos, and documents, all related to their next mission, the mysterious case of the nightmare at the orphanage. The walls were lined with information about the orphanage in question. The more they delved into the details, the more sinister the situation appeared. Children had been vanishing without a trace, and all clues pointed to something far more malevolent than mere criminal activity. At the center of their investigation was the orphanage's owner, a reclusive figure shrouded in mystery. As Lucas and Elara pieced together bits of information from various sources, a chilling picture began to emerge. The owner was not just a corrupt individual exploiting vulnerable children. He was, in fact, a minor demon, one who thrived on the suffering of others. "This is more complicated than we thought," Elara said, her eyes dark with concern. "A demon. They're more powerful than we are, and far more dangerous." Lucas nodded in agreement, his usual confidence tempered by the gravity of their discovery. "We need to tread carefully," he cautioned. "A direct confrontation could be disastrous." The two of them reviewed the data they had collected, trying to find a weakness they could exploit. But the more they learned, the more daunting the task seemed. "We might need help on this one," Lucas finally admitted, a rare note of hesitation in his voice. "Someone who knows how to handle demons." Elara sighed, the weight of the situation pressing down on her. "Agreed. We can't risk those children's lives, and we can't go in unprepared." As they sat in contemplation, the room felt smaller, the walls closing in with the enormity of their task. But despite the overwhelming odds, their resolve did not waver. They were determined to save the children and bring the demon to justice. The night was young, and the streets outside were alive with the hum of the city. Lucas and Elara knew that their next steps had to be calculated and precise. The lives of innocent children hung in the balance, and failure was not an option. The chapter closed with them deep in planning, ready to face one of their most challenging adversaries yet. In the fight against darkness, they stood united, their courage and determination their greatest weapons. It's time for a quick scare break. As we linger in these shadowy realms, a small favour I dare to ask. If my tales of terror bring you thrills, Do not let our journey end here. Hit like, subscribe, and join our dark congregation. I must extend my deepest, most sinister thanks to those souls brave enough to support our chilling journey. Your contributions, kindred spirits, are the lifeblood of our channel. They help me continue to craft the haunting tales that send shivers down your spine and keep you awake at night, pondering what lurks in the shadows. If you too find yourself captivated by our chilling chronicles and wish to help the channel, consider clicking the thanks button below. Your support, dear viewer, is not just a contribution. It's a lifeline that allows me to continue weaving these terrifying tales just for you. Let's embrace the darkness once more. Let's get back to the shadows. Chapter 2. The Shadow of Despair. In the grim halls of the orphanage, the owner, whom they called Mortis, revelled in the despair that permeated the air. His laughter, cold and devoid of any humanity, echoed through the corridors. "It tastes so sweet," he whispered, absorbing the anguish of the children locked in their rooms, hungry and desolate. Mortis, a minor demon granted temporary leave from his infernal realm, thrived on the suffering he inflicted. To him, the orphanage was a banquet of misery, each child a source of nourishment for his dark soul. A woman, his loyal assistant, approached him with a deferential bow. "Master, we have a new delivery of stock," she reported, her voice a mix of fear and respect. Mortis's eyes gleamed with malicious delight. "Oh, excellent," he exclaimed. A group of 4 children, kidnapped from the streets of a distant city, were brought before him. Their cries and pleas only served to feed his twisted hunger. "Those in rooms 5 and 6 are broken," Mortis mused, a cruel smirk on his lips. "They have given up, no longer fueling me with their pain. Sell them to whoever wants them." "Yes, master," the woman replied, her voice a hollow echo of obedience. Outside the orphanage, hidden in the shadowy embrace of the tree line, stood a figure. His face was aged and decayed, a testament to the centuries he had endured. Eldridge, an ancient vampire, had been monitoring the orphanage for some time. His friend Clara, a reporter with a nose for the supernatural, had tipped him off about the horrors within. Eldridge had hoped to find a way to free the captive children and exact vengeance on Mortis. However, his vigil had led him to a daunting conclusion. The minor demon was a formidable adversary, too powerful to confront alone. The vampire's age-old wisdom told him that this battle required allies, ones who understood the nature of such evil. His thoughts turned to whispers he had heard, tales of 2 werewolves, Lucas and Elara, who had been waging their own war against the darkness. As the night deepened, Eldridge knew that the time had come to seek out these allies. Only together could they hope to challenge Mortis and bring an end to the nightmare at the orphanage. The children's cries haunted the ancient vampire, fueling his resolve to bring down the demon and his reign of terror. Chapter 3. An Unlikely Alliance. In the dim light of their temporary hideout, Lucas and Elara were grappling with the formidable challenge of confronting Mortis. "His darkness is too much for us," Lucas admitted, frustration in his voice. "I can't see a way to win this one." "There has to be a way," Elara insisted, her determination unwavering. Suddenly, a voice echoed from the shadows, halting their conversation. "There is a way," said the voice, deep and ancient. Lucas and Elara whirled around, ready for combat, only to see an aged figure stepping out of the darkness. "Stand down. I'm an ally," said the figure, his demeanor calm yet commanding. He introduced himself as Eldridge, an ancient vampire who had been keeping a watchful eye on Mortis. "I too have tried to confront this Mortis, but he is too strong for me, and for you," Eldridge explained. Even together, he may overpower us. However, Mortis is not his real name. If we can discover his true name, it will weaken him, giving us a chance." Lucas, intrigued, asked, "You know who we are?" "Of course," Eldridge replied, with a hint of a smile. "I have lived for hundreds of years. There isn't much I don't know." Elara, still cautious, questioned his motives. "But you're a vampire. Why would you care?" Eldridge's expression turned thoughtful. "My dear, you really must throw out the comic books on vampires. Yes, we feed on the living, as do you and every other being on this planet. Just on a different species, but being centuries old. My intellect has also grown. I've come to see the power in mankind, and that power lies in the individual, not the collective." He continued, "True strength, the kind that can change the world, comes from the individual's ability to think, to choose, and to act independently. Collectivism, the kind that Mortis represents, seeks to control and to feed off others' pain and submission. It strips away individuality, creating a monolith of suffering. This goes against the very essence of what makes us truly powerful as beings. We thrive on our uniqueness, our capacity for independent thought and action." Lucas and Elara listened, absorbing his words. Eldridge's perspective, shaped by centuries of existence, offered a new angle to their plan. The unlikely alliance between a vampire and two werewolves, bound by a common goal, began to take shape. Together, they would find Mortis's true name and bring an end to his reign of terror, each contributing their unique strengths to the fight ahead. Chapter 4. The Cryptic Clue. After a day spent scouring every resource available, Elara in front of her computer and Lucas delving into ancient texts at the library, they reconvened at their temporary base, empty-handed and frustrated. They were at a loss for their next move, when a message pinged on Elara's phone. It was from someone named Clara. "Hi, friend of Eldridge. Priest, town, location, exorcist. He can give you the name, but tread with caution. Clara." "Can we trust these people?" Elara asked, skepticism in her voice. "Vampires always have an ulterior motive, and it's never good." "What choice do we have?" Lucas countered. "We're like puppies to Mortis. We need an edge." Determined, they set out to meet the priest Clara had mentioned. They found him in a dilapidated church in an old part of town. The priest was a disheveled, erratic figure, his eyes betraying a history of facing unimaginable horrors. He ranted and raved, splashing holy water on Lucas and Elara, swinging his walking stick at them in a frenzy. The mention of Mortis stopped him in his tracks. "No, I am not doing that again. No, no, no," he protested vehemently. "We just need his real name," Elara insisted, her voice calm yet firm. The priest, after a moment of tense silence, uttered a cryptic clue. "The demon's name, a twisted mirror of his game. In Latin lies his fame. Reverse the flow to reveal his name." Elara pondered the riddle, her mind racing. Lucas watched her, knowing her knack for solving complex puzzles. After some time, her eyes lit up. "The clue," she said excitedly. "It's about reversing something. His name is a reverse of a Latin word related to his actions, to inflict suffering or pain." Quickly, Elara scribbled down some Latin words related to pain and suffering. "Dolor, tormentum, cruciamentum." She then began reversing them. "Rolod, mutnamrot, mutnikirk." "Mutnamrot," Lucas read aloud. "It doesn't sound right." Elara then tried cruciamentum, reversing it to mutnamarkirk. She broke it down. Mutanemarkirk. Muten. Ikirk. Wait, it's not a direct reversal. What if it's an anagram? Rearranging the letters, She finally landed on a name that seemed to click. Tamui. Their eyes met, a shared realization dawning on them. Tamui, Lucas repeated. It means bloodstained. That could be it. It fits him. With this new piece of the puzzle, Lucas and Elara now had a potential weapon against Mortis. They thanked the priest, who had calmed down considerably and left the church, a new sense of purpose guiding their steps. The battle against Mortis was far from over, but they now had a crucial key to weakening the demon's power. Chapter 5. Preparing for the confrontation. In the dimly lit room of their temporary base, Lucas and Elara shared their discovery with Eldridge. The ancient vampire listened intently as they explained the riddle and its solution. Tamui. He nodded slowly, his eyes reflecting centuries of knowledge. It sounds right, he agreed. But remember, if we're wrong, we're all dead. Lucas acknowledged the risk. We need to wait just 2 more days for the full moon. That's when we make our move. The full moon would amplify their powers, giving them a fighting chance against Mortis. As they huddled around a worn table, the trio began to formulate their plan. Eldridge, though a vampire of great age and wisdom, confessed his limitations in direct combat. I may be a vampire, but I'm not the formidable fighter of legend, he said with a rueful smile. Years of battles and the toll of time have left me more fragile than I once was. I'm not the immortal warrior the comics depict, my dear. Eldridge assured them he would support their efforts in other ways. I'll be the brains, while you two are the brawn, he proposed. I'll work in the background, orchestrating our strategy and providing you with the information and resources you need. Lucas and Elara nodded in agreement, understanding the importance of each of their roles in the upcoming confrontation. They discussed Mortis's likely defenses, including his servants, who would undoubtedly be formidable foes in their own right. The plan was to use Tamui's name to weaken Mortis, breaking the demonic shield that protected him. Lucas and Elara would then engage him directly, utilizing their werewolf strength and agility. Eldridge would ensure that their approach was strategic, creating diversions and disrupting Mortis's plans from the shadows. The atmosphere was tense. They knew the stakes were high, and failure was not an option. As the hours ticked by, each of them retreated into their thoughts, mentally preparing for the battle ahead. Lucas and Elara reviewed combat techniques, while Eldridge gathered intelligence on the layout of the orphanage and the habits of Mortis's servants. They were a team brought together by circumstance, but united in their resolve to end the nightmare at the orphanage and bring Mortis to justice. As the night of the full moon approached, Lucas, Elara, and Eldridge readied themselves for what could be their most dangerous mission yet. The fate of the innocent children and the takedown of a powerful demon rested in their hands. Chapter 6. The Fall of Mortis. The night of the full moon had arrived, casting an eerie glow over the orphanage. Lucas, Elara, and Eldridge stood outside, preparing for the confrontation ahead. It's time, Lucas said, his voice steady. I hope this works, Elara murmured, anxiety lacing her words. If it doesn't, we won't know about it, Eldridge quipped, his tone darkly humorous. Lucas approached the front door and knocked. Elara sighed. He always has to use the front door. Bravado or stupidity, Eldridge mused as he merged with the shadows. One of Mortis's servants answered the door. Yes, he began, but his inquiry was cut short as Eldridge's shadow passed through him, leaving him lifeless on the floor. We don't have time for this, Eldridge stated in his shadow form. They entered the building, immediately assaulted by the cries and wails of the children. The sound was harrowing, a cacophony of pain and suffering. "He enjoys this," Elara said, disgust evident in her voice. As they moved deeper into the orphanage, they encountered Mortis's servants blocking their path. "Leave this to me," Eldridge said, his shadow form darting towards the servants with supernatural speed, incapacitating them one by one. Suddenly, Eldridge's form was flung back violently, hitting the wall before collapsing into his frail human form. "How dare you?" a deep, dark voice boomed. "You dare to enter my domain." It was Mortis. "Any time now would be great, Mr. Moon," Lucas muttered. As Mortis approached, tall and menacing, Eldridge lay unconscious. Elara attempted to speak the demon's name, but her transformation under the moon's influence had begun, rendering her speechless. Mortis charged, effortlessly pushing Elara across the room. Lucas, also transforming, lunged at Mortis, but the demon dodged his attacks with ease, swatting him aside. Both werewolves lay on the floor, overpowered by Mortis's strength. In their werewolf forms, they tried to speak the name, but it came out as a growl rather than words. Mortis saw his opportunity and prepared to deliver the final blow. Just then, Eldridge, regaining consciousness, uttered the name in clear, crisp English. "Cruentamui?" Mortis froze, turning towards Eldridge in disbelief. "How?" he demanded. With a sly smile, Eldridge returned to his shadow form. Seizing the moment, Elara and Lucas attacked Mortis from behind, unleashing their full fury. Teeth and claws tore into the demon, overwhelming him with their primal strength. Mortis lay defeated on the floor, his body beginning to vanish. His final word, a defeated, echoed through the room. In the aftermath, the orphanage was silent. The children, sensing the change, slowly emerged from their rooms, their expressions shifting from fear to cautious hope. Lucas, Elara, and Eldridge, though exhausted, shared a look of triumph. They had overcome impossible odds, brought down a powerful demon, and liberated the children from their nightmare. As the first light of dawn crept into the orphanage, it was a new beginning for those who had suffered under Mortis's reign. The night's events had forged an unbreakable bond between the werewolves and the ancient vampire, a testament to the power of unity and courage in the face of darkness. Final chapter, Parting Ways. In the calm aftermath of their victory, Lucas, Elara, and Eldridge stood outside the orphanage, ready to part ways. The first light of dawn painted the sky, symbolizing a new beginning. Eldridge turned to Lucas and Elara, a look of genuine respect in his age-old eyes. "I must say, I admire you two, not because of any altruistic notion, but for your steadfast defense of the individual. In a world where the individual's voice is often drowned out by collective agendas, you stand up for those who cannot stand for themselves. You recognize the importance of each person's right to live their own life, to make their own choices. That's a rare quality." Lucas and Elara nodded, understanding the depth of his words. They had always fought for those who were overlooked and oppressed, valuing each life as unique and important. Eldridge continued, "Before I leave, there's something else. It's about a place they call the Ghost Town Heist. A once thriving town, now abandoned, under the control of a ruthless gang. It's said to be a ghost town, literally. I'm afraid my abilities aren't suited for such a task, but perhaps you might be able to help." Lucas and Elara exchanged a look, intrigued by this new challenge. "We'll look into it," Lucas promised. The idea of a ghost town controlled by a gang sparked their curiosity and sense of justice. Eldridge smiled. "I had a feeling you would." He turned to leave, his form blending into the morning shadows. As Eldridge disappeared, Lucas and Elara prepared to set out for their next adventure. The ghost town heist awaited them, another chapter in their ongoing battle against the darkness. They walked away from the orphanage, their spirits united in purpose. Their journey was far from over, but they were ready for whatever challenges lay ahead, driven by their belief in the power and rights of the individual. The legacy of their actions at the orphanage would be a beacon of hope for those who had lost their voice, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there are those who will fight for the light.